Hey guys, it's Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentry-waiver-services.com. Boom, you guys are already cleared. You don't need us. All right, guys, so today's video is going to be on assault convictions and U.S. entry waiver when you do and don't need a waiver. Guys, this got inspired by a video we did regarding DUI, about how sometimes with a DUI, you could talk yourself into being inadmissible to the USA. And just to recap quickly, I told you guys if you have a DUI regarding alcohol consumption, you're good for the most part. You're good to go. If you have a DUI regarding let's say marijuana or powder, then you're not good to go because I told you guys in the other video that basically you're admitting to drug use, be it powder or weed. And by the way, guys, for the 1 millionth time, marijuana is not legal federally in the USA, only by certain state law, but not federal. For lack of better words, federal law trumps state law. Never thought that'd come out in a million years. So you guys already got the part about the DUI down pat. That's great. Now let's talk about the assault. Now, like I said in the other video, part of me is thinking if I put these videos out, like the DUI one, and you got a CBP officer looking at it, they need some training. They're going to use what I said to go after you guys more. So I thought about this, but I said, you know what? For the greater good, I want you guys to see it. And if they learn something they can use, then so be it. It is what it is. Same thing with the assault. Now, if I'm the officer and I see that you have a 266 assault on your record, instead of like in the old days when they saw a DUI, they didn't do any digging. So now apply that same mindset to assault. So it's kind of like if I see an assault conviction 266 on your file, like I said, at the port of entry, and I'll hold you aside and say, tell me what happened. And then you explain the fact that the ex-girlfriend came by and she slapped you, and then you backhanded her back, or your baby's mom, or if you're a woman, you punched the boyfriend across the jaw because he called your name for whatever reason, which is not a nice thing to do anyway. It's not nice to hit anyone in a relationship, male or female. Bottom line, let me just get that out there. I don't condone any of this crap. And if people cannot get along in a relationship, they need to just part ways, just split up. I do not condone any kind of assault in a marital or boyfriend, girlfriend, or common law relationship. Let me just get that out of the way. So it's the same token, like I said, if she slaps him because he's called her name, said the wrong thing, then she's inadmissible because it's an intimate partner. Now, that same woman who goes to, let's say, Dublin's pub or Big Bad John's in Victoria, and some guy she doesn't know says the wrong thing and she just smacks him or pushes him out of the way, that assault by itself, that one does not require a waiver. But now, if that guy that she did this to is an intimate partner and they live together, now she's inadmissible to the USA for that assault. So it's a distinction. Basically it's going to depend upon what kind of relationship you have with the person. If it's like a family type, intimate partner type, domestic, all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you're in the red zone for being inadmissible. But if it's just like Joe Smith who just had too much to drink, you don't need a waiver. And if you're Joe Smith and you push a bird out of the way, you don't need a waiver. And again, like I said, I don't condone violence against any sex. So that's one big thing with me. But anyway, so the bottom line is if I'm the officer, I'm going to see that assault and pull you aside and see what I can obtain from that to make you inadmissible. And if you ask the questions the right way, he can get a good confession. For example, and I know the officers are going to see this and use this. For example, Sally Soup comes through and she gets sent to secondary. So Sally, I looked at the computer. It says you like to beat up intimate partners. You like to fight. You like to fight family members, don't you? So why do you fight family members? She said, what are you talking about? Well, you got this assault in your file, so it says right here you like to fight family members. She says, well, what are you talking about? That was only one time. Well, what happened in one time then? Well, one time, I don't know, one time he came home drunk and I got angry because he was drunk and I told him to get out and he wanted to sleep on the couch. I said, what'd you do to him then? Oh, I grabbed him by the I grabbed him by the shirt and started pushing him towards the door. And he was resisting. So when he called me a name and I slapped him across the face, called me something like that. I said, okay, so you slapped him. Yeah, I slapped him. No, he's not gonna call me that kind of name. I said, okay. I said, no problem. So I understand. I said, we lose our tempers. I get it. I said, okay, so I tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna write this up. And after we write this up, we're gonna get you out the door or get you on your way. And she said, okay. Then I'm gonna do a sworn statement, get her to admit to the elements of what she told me, emphasize the actual contact, emphasize who he is to her regarding relationship wise. And she's foolish, she'll be foolish enough to do it. I'll say dumb enough to do it. I shouldn't say that, but she'll be dumb enough to do it, thinking she's being honest. And then after I got like a 3 or 4 or 5 page sworn statement, and I might even try to get her to admit to substance abuse. I'll say, well, were you at the time high on weed or anything? And she'll say, no, I didn't do that. I wasn't high at that time. Oh, when were you high before? Oh, that was last week. I just smoked up a joint. I said, okay. Then I'm going to get that into the statement. So now I got her for drug usage and I got her for the criminal assault. And I might even try to get her to admit to the frequency of the weed usage. So she missed the frequency. I say, well, I don't know. How often do you get high? Like what? 2 times a day, 3 days? She said, no, not that much. I said, well, what? She said, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week. So okay. Now I got her down for being a habitual drug user. So I got her hard in 3 areas. And when I can articulate that, document that, and now when she goes for her waiver, she's got to overcome 3 areas. And she's not going to know how to overcome those areas. These discount waiver companies won't know how to overcome those areas effectively. And if these officers had that same training, or if I could be a trainer again with these officers, like where I was in Washington State on the state side, then these guys at these port of entries will catch a whole lot more people. But because I'm on this side helping the people who are in trouble, people who are accused of selling powder, but not convicted, so they must have been innocent. People accused of washing the actually, sorry, people accused of doing a good hand wash of money, all that good stuff. So those are the people, once they've left their industry, we get cleared. And it works. Again, guys, remember about the assault. So simple common assault, and the member is not a family member or no kind of family type relationship, you're good to go. If you are in a family type relationship, then then you're gonna start having trouble. Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentryWaiverServices.com, and it's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. Remember to give us a shout. Don't believe what these discount waiver companies say to you. Everything we put out here, we can show you in the DHS regs and manuals, which these places don't have. Wouldn't you know where to find them? And if they had them in their hand right now, wouldn't you know what to do with them? And I'm out. Have a great day.